Coach Simmons, after the dust has settled for a few days, what is your main takeaway from this season?
Well, there were a lot of positives. I thought that that happened, transpired over the year. I think because we're in such a competitive business and it's result oriented, it's sometimes hard to look past some of those disappointing results that we got. But all in all, I do think that the program moved forward. We moved the needle forward. Sometimes it doesn't translate into the victories that we think we should have earned. But there's certainly smaller details that are going to be easier to address as we move forward in the future. And so on that note, I'm pretty optimistic and positive. But when you're competitive, you want to win all of them. And I think all of our guys have a salty taste in their mouth because of that. But as I term this Oregon State men's soccer project, as it is a project to get the program where it needs to be, we took some steps forward for sure.
It's sort of what you were talking about there. After a fairly successful non-conference schedule, you featured some challenging opponents. Were you surprised with the lack of winning results once Pac-12 play started?
Yeah, I was. I think a lot of that has to do with the week in, week out dynamic of a game. One of the things that will happen to a team is, you get a result, whether you play well or not, the confidence is through the roof. And if you don't get a result, whether you played well or not, it's really down the dumps. And I think that had a lot to do with maybe not getting some early results that I felt that we were good enough to get. But it always came down to 3 or 4 moments and some minor details. And soccer's so crazy that way. That is probably the sport where you can be the best team and not win more than any other sport out there. So we know that signing up to be in this sport. I think there are some things, all the things to be honest with you, I think are in our control to tighten up so that when we do put in those performances, we'll get the positive result.
If you could offer some specifics, what areas exceeded expectations and where do you see the need for improvement?
I think one of the areas that we really looked at last spring was to be able to score goals. I think that's a big thing because it's so hard to score goals in soccer. I thought that really exceeded expectations for the season. I think in the conference, we probably could have done a little bit better on that. But again, that's where it gets so tight and everybody's scouting each other. And taking away certain aspects that would not been taken away otherwise in non-conference play. But I thought we really improved that. I think one of the things is having a team belief that you can score in any game. And I think we knew we could score in any game. Because when your team doesn't believe they can score, then it makes it very, very difficult in a long game. So I thought we really, really improved there. I thought we improved on keeping the ball, possession. The next step is being more productive with possession. Having the ball is great, gives your defense a break, but now it's what do you do with it? And so that's something that we're going to continue to move forward with. I think the area that we want to improve on the most is that when you do attack, you still have to keep the house locked up. If you go on vacation, lock up the house, right? And so I think we were at times a little exposed in the counterattack and being a little bit open. I want to make sure that we're a little more rigid and sturdy in how we defend because you don't want to give away soft goals. Soft goals I think are one of the main culprits of having confidence damaging. And I think when you look back on some of the goals that happened to us, especially in conference play, we come away pretty frustrated about giving those goals away. But I think all in all, if we can tighten up defensively, but we still have a good thing going forward. And I think that we still can produce goals going into the next year.
As you move into the off-season part of the schedule, can you talk about what happens here over the winter months and into the spring?
In the winter months, we're going to have a lot of strength conditioning that will go on with the players, and each player will have basically their own program because we've got different body types, different positions, so on and so forth. Our strength coach, Nate Barry, does a superb job of really typecasting the needs of specific players. And he and Coach Adam Pierce really kind of take this bull by the horns and move forward with it. So I think that's a huge piece, and that's also a good sign of confidence building for the players. Then we do a lot of stuff on the ball, a lot of skill building. And then when we go into the spring season, you get your games in, and hopefully we're able to continue our tradition of playing MLS teams. I think that's huge, being able to raise the bar right away and have the guys. It's easier to train for games coming up, especially those type of games that we're able to put together. And then we're preparing for the fall already. I think right now it's a lot of review and reflection, but there's a disappointment and a frustration that needs to be translated into production. And I think that that's something that we're doing right now. We're doing that right now because, when you look at the things that go on with a season, there's always review of what you need to do and then a preview of what you want to do. And I think our guys are in the right frame of mind to do that. I think we want to finish this term off academically strong because we're usually pretty good with that, and then go into the next term with an agenda, and we already got that agenda set.
Final question, can you just give us an overall state of the program?
Again, I think promising, disappointing with some results. We look at a few of the games like Indiana and Stanford where we've really got the opponent where we want to have them, and you throw in a couple of the results, next thing you know, we're talking about an NCAA tournament, and it's that tight. It's that tight. It's certainly not because we're not talented enough, but there's those tight margins that is a part of the project. And so, like in anything else, after the disappointment or frustration of a season that doesn't go your way, goes away, you take those pieces that you want to work on and you move it into what the expectation should be. So that's our goal. That's my goal as the program leader. And so I feel pretty confident going forward.